Hello, this is Yakov Fein, and lesson number 3 is about compiling the code from the command line. We'll create actually a file, compile it. We will see which tools do you need to compile the code from the command line. But first, let's continue getting familiar with types. In the previous lesson, I just used the word string, the keyword string, to declare a variable of type string. Let's try to do something else, but first let's try to identify the problem that you may have in JavaScript and see how TypeScript will help you with that problem. What do you see on the screen is Pythagorean theorem. You probably know, right? A power of 2 plus b power of 2 is equals c power of 2, and it's also used often to calculate the distance between 2 points. So there's a function distance. You can probably hear the sirens. I'm recording in New York City in Midtown Manhattan, and as you know, bullets are flying, police is running around like crazy. Just kidding, it's ambulances. Most likely we live not far from the hospital, and that's the sound, sorry. So Pythagorean theorem, as you can see on the screen, we want to use it to calculate the distance between 2 points, point A and point B. There's a function distance, it's JavaScript, no types, nothing. And it returns math square root of point AX minus point BX coordinates, right? Power of 2 plus point AY minus point BY, power of 2. And we want to invoke this function distance using the console log, then distance, and we pass coordinates of point A and coordinates of point B as 3 minus 4, 6, 0. What's wrong with this code? I'm sure some of you already see what's wrong with this code. Look at this Z. Look at this Z. We have X and Y's, and why we put Z over here? This is wrong. In JavaScript wouldn't complain. Alright, so you provided an object with the property Z and Y as an argument to the function distance. That's great. We will dynamically maybe assign the property Z to point A and be done with it. So at the bottom of this slide, I have a link to the playground. When you have something on playground, you can create a link to it and use it as a reference, or send it to your friend, and or use it in the book or in the blog. So that's the example that is already typed there. So on the right hand side, everything is correct. From JavaScript perspective, it's correct. It's compiled code, right? On the left hand side, first of all, it doesn't like the fact that you did not specify the type of point A and point B. By default, TypeScript assigned the type any to these types, but it completely defeats the purpose. If you will be assigning the type any, which allows you to put any value in there, so what's the point of using TypeScript, right? So it's not a good idea. I believe there isn't even an option. No implicit any. See this? And let me try to turn it off and see what happens. Look at this. I turn it off. I said basically, shut up. I want to use any. This is bad. Bad. No, let's not do this. Let's go back to the configuration for the compiler and forbid that. So what I can do right now, since there are no types on the left hand side in TypeScript as well, TypeScript cannot help you. TypeScript knows nothing about point A and point B. That's why in line number 7 it doesn't complain about Z. Who knows? Maybe that object has a property Z. So what is a better way to introduce? What is a way to introduce types in this little program? So we know that we're going to have an object to represent one point and the other point, and it's supposed to have properties X and Y, right? So why not introduce a type? So in TypeScript, there are different ways of declaring a new custom type. One of them is called interface. Let me do this. Interface, it's a keyword in TypeScript, which doesn't exist in JavaScript, by the way. Interface point. I'm creating a new type. And in there, I will define two properties. One of them is x of type number, and the other one is y of type number. So far, it's easy, right? Not many changes we see in our code. It still doesn't like that we didn't specify the type for point A, but now we have a type, right? Now we have a type, and what is the type? Point. We defined not pint, but point. See what I'm thinking about? It's morning, and I'm thinking about a pint of milk. Point. Look at this. Right away, the line number 13, squiggly red line, it says, what are you doing? Are you out of your mind? You said that the first parameter is of type point, and point A has nothing like z. Argument of type z, number y. Number is not assignable to parameter of type point. Point doesn't have z. See, it helps me right away. It's helped me right away. Z doesn't exist in type point. Writes me this friendly TypeScript language service. Let me finish and do this. Of course, I would write this point. And now it helps me find this error without the need to compile and run the program and see this problem during the runtime. See the benefit? Right away. I see it right away. Is it a big price to pay? No. And by the way, since we already started using interfaces, and even though I will have a separate lesson on that, maybe even more than one, I want to bring to your attention something. JavaScript doesn't understand this construct as interface. That's why on the right-hand side, you don't see any traces of the fact that we declare the type point of type interface. If I will change the type from interface to class, and you are allowed to declare types with class, with the class keyword, right? The code on the left will has no initializer and not again. It gives me this problem. Let me do this with class equals 0. I'll initialize it with 0 so it knows it's a number. Equals 0. So on the right hand side, now it generates code that represents class. By default, the target for compilation, what was the property for the target? ES 2017. Starting from ES 2015, JavaScript understands classes. So that's why it generated the versions that can run in the JavaScript engine that support ECMAScript 2015 or newer. But let me do a real quick change. I will change the target to ES5, to the older version. I'm saying, you know what, I am writing code using classes, but the target browsers, they don't understand this keyword yet, right? So I change it to ES5. Look at this on the right hand side. The generated code is completely different. Now TypeScript did not generate classes because the target audience doesn't understand what it is. All right, so we are done with this part, and the next part is how do you compile, how do you create a file, compile it, and run it on the command line, not in the playground. First of all, you need to have, typically we work in so-called node-based projects. So you need to have a tool, you need to have Node.js that can run your code in the desktop, in the command line. So to do this, you need to install it. Node.js.org, I believe. Node.js.org. If you go there, you can install either a long type support version, which is safer, or the current, which may have some bugs. In your simple examples, it doesn't matter. So download, install it, it's a piece of cake. After you do this, your command prompt will have a couple of new commands. One of them is Node itself, the runtime, and the other one is npm. It's a Node package manager that allows you to download things from central repository. Actually, not only where all these libraries and packages and frameworks are sitting. So npm can use this central repository, npmjs.org. Not to be confused, node.js.org, and now we go to npmjs.org. In there is more than 500,000 different packages. People develop new code and give it away and publish it over here, so you can install it later on. So you can install libraries like Lodash, Momentum, Angular, Vue, React. All that is sitting in this repository. So let's see. First of all, since I already have Node.js installed on my computer, that's why I already have these commands on my command line. So I can do node -v. It tells me that currently I'm using version 10 of Node, right? But also I have npm. It tells me that you cannot use just npm like this. You need to do something with it. For example, npm install Lodash, or npm install jQuery, or npm install something else, right? So, but my point is that I have Node, the runtime. I have npm to install packages if need be. For now, I don't need any packages. Let me clear my screen. Let me create a directory. Make dir ts2, for example. No, let's do ts. cd to this directory, ts. Now let's do what? Let's create a simple. No, not create a simple file. It's too early yet. We need to install TypeScript compiler. We have npm that knows how to install packages from npmjs.org. TypeScript compiler, or TSC, is a package published over there in particular. I'm not saying it's the only way where you can get it from, but let's see how to do this. npm install, you could just write npm I, and what do we want to install? We want to install TypeScript. I already have it installed, but no big deal. I'll install it again, maybe a newer version. See, now it installs it. It doesn't let me do this. I know why. I made a mistake. First of all, I am sitting in the directory pwd, where we are in the directory ts. So if I install something and I don't specify globally, install it globally, it is expect that this directory is already prepared project or node-based project. It's not in my case. This directory is empty. I mean, it's tried to install something there, so it created node modules and package log.json, but there was no special file package JSON with dependency, so it didn't like the fact. It says I cannot find what I need to install TypeScript locally in this directory. So let me do this. I will install it globally. So npm install -g. I'm installing TypeScript globally, not just for this directory, but globally. So now I can use it from any directory. So tsc, is this -v to check the version? Yes. So right now I have version 3.7.3. So I have TypeScript compiler installed, and if I would have a file, I could use it and compile it, right? So let me create a file. What do we want to create? Let's create a file main.ts. I created an empty file. You know what? Let me open it in any editor. Main.ts. I'm here. I'll get rid of these leftovers that I had. I want to have only one file. Main.ts. In this file, main.ts, let me open it with what? Open it with Visual Studio Code. I can open it now, even though it's a little bit too soon. Let me open it in any other text editor for you. Which one? Say text edit. It's empty for now, right? So let's do this. Let me write a function. Calc calc discount, and in this function is supposed to give me the price and the discount, right? So price of type number and discount of type number, right? And there, what do we want to do? Function with a small f. What do we want to do in there? We want to take we want to print the final price. Console your price is, and let's write this expression. What do we want to do? We want to take the price minus price multiplied by discount, right? Is this correct? Yeah, pretty much. Man, discount, backtick, close paren. That's my function. Calc discount, and the price is $100 and discount is 12%. Done. Save. I have a file main.ts at this point. If I will do tsc on the command line, tsc main.ts, it'll take and compile it, and it'll produce a new file called main.js for JavaScript. See, it doesn't says console has no call signature. I used it wrong. I should have written console.log. That's one mistake. Second mistake, calc discount. I made another mistake. So I declared the function as calc discount, and what else? Cannot find name calc discount. Did you mean calc discount? Where did I misspell it? I don't even see it. Cal discount. It's supposed to be calc discount. Missing C. All right, let me go back. Right now, calc discount. That's one mistake. For now, I'm just using plain text editor. I'm not using any IDEs that support TypeScript. That's why I'm like a blind kitten trying to find my error myself. It will be completely different when I start using the IDE or any IDE that has TypeScript support. And my productivity will increase tremendously. So these are the errors. I know that these are the errors. Save. Go back to command line and try to compile it. This time it compiled fine, ls, and it produced the file main.js. Now I can run this program. Let me do this in Node runtime main.js. See, now it says your price is what? Minus. So they owe me, actually. They owe me $1,100. Why is that? It's apparently a bug. So price minus discount. See, it should have been like not 12, but 0 point, right? If we use numbers. Let me do this again. No, not this. Let me compile it, and then let me run it. Your price is 88, correct? 12%, right? So we compile it down. If I wanted, I could have specified the other options. Let me do this. I will delete this main.js, the resulting files. As a matter of fact, you know what? We can open it up and see what's in there. This is a compiled version, right? Pretty much similar to TypeScript, but they removed the types in price and discount. I used to have number type in both cases. Let me tell you how to add options, compilers options. Let's say I want to compile it again, and I want to say don't even produce a file, the JavaScript, if I have errors. Until I fix all my syntax errors, let's not even produce it. Let me introduce an error. I will do call discount over here. I will purposely invoke the function that doesn't exist. Let me try. Found 2 errors. And see, it didn't generate main.js for me. Why? Because I had errors. Found 2 errors. If I will fix the errors, call discount. I don't know what's the second one. I don't even care. Let me compile it again. This time no errors, and that's why I'm going to have this file. So we have we used compiler options. There's like 24 of compilers options out there. You can come here and it'll tell you all the options that exist in TypeScript. Tons of them. See there? Like several dozens. Where is mine, by the way? No emit error. See, this is the one that I was used in my example. Don't emit output if any errors were reported. So what did we do so far? We learned how to install TypeScript compiler. If you use -G, it'll be installed in also, besides going over here and seeing these compiler options, what you can do, you can initialize the directory saying that this directory will have compiler options, and yeah, I want to put them in a special file. What is the name of that special file? The name of that special file is tsconfig.json. Instead of typing all these properties, or sorry, compilers options like this, which can be annoying every time you compile it, what you can do is you can create a file named tsconfig.json and put all compilers options in there. After you do this, in your directory, you can just enter tsc without even specifying what you want to compile. It'll pick up all the TypeScript files in this directory, and it'll use the options that you specified in the file tsconfig.json. How you can quickly create this file, config.json. Let me see what we have in there. So far I have main.ts and main.js only. So if I will initialize this directory with TypeScript, tsc-init, I believe, it'll create a file, tsconfig.json in there. In there will be all configuration options available. Most of them will be disabled, though. Let me go back and see this file. Right click, open with the, let's say, Sublime. It has compiler options. Only a couple of them are uncommented. Target is ECMAScript 5, meaning I want to compile it down to the JavaScript version ES5, and module by default is CommonJS, which is I'm going to be running under Node. All these other ones are most of them, right? Most of them are commented out. You can uncomment them as need be. But my point is that I have already filed tsconfig.json in this directory. That's why I can just come here, clear, and I can just say tsc without even saying what I want to compile. It'll use the options in that file, tsconfig.json, and find the main.ts and produce javascript.ts. This is how we usually work. If you have a project, you use some frameworks, or you don't, we typically have a project, and in there we have tsconfig.json with all the properties, with all the compilers options that we need. That's the end of lesson number 3. Thank you for watching.